for joining us for the webinar on supporting individuals undergoing a leadership development experience. I'm Purva from People Matters and will take you through the agenda for today's webinar. We have the privilege of having with us Emily Hoole, Group Director of Global Research and Evaluation at the Center for Creative Leadership. First of all, I would like to give you a brief on the L&D Leadership Lead. It is an initiative which is specially designed for the L&D leaders, helping them take talent management to the next level. This week is a combination of a bunch of activities like the newsletter, master classes like this one, hangouts, half-day events, annual conference, and awards. Every organization invests a significant amount of resources, both in time and money, for a formal developmental experiences for leaders. This masterclass will revolve around the 4 critical phases for support learning transfer to enhance impact. The 3Q model for learning transfer, the do's and don'ts for learning transfer, the roles and responsibilities for key stakeholders to drive learning transfer, actionable strategies to support transfer at each phase of the process. A little about our today's speaker. Dr. Emily Hoole leads the center in setting the strategy for global research and evaluation to both align with and anticipate clients' needs regarding leadership and leadership development, to address critical challenges and issues, identifies priorities for the center's portfolio, and ensures that the results of CCS research and evaluation are disseminated widely to inform leaders and organizations around the world. She combines evaluating thinking with organizational learning in her work to improve the effectiveness of organizational interventions. Our partners for today's webinar for helping us make this program possible are Center for Creative Leadership, Cornerstone On Demand, Northscape, Pearson Talent, and Great Lakes Institute of Management. We have saved time for you to ask your questions at the end of the webinar. For those watching the live webinar, you can submit questions at any time during the presentation through the question and answer section. We will try to respond to as many questions as time allows. We have a full exciting agenda for the webinar today. Emily will take the lead. So without any further delay, I'm going to hand over the webinar microphone to Emily. Over to you, Emily.
% or greater as evidence of success in leadership development types of work. And in CCL's evaluation work, we've seen transfer levels typically above 80% and sometimes up to 98 or 99% for at least some level of behavior change. But this requires a strong design and integration of development into the real life of participants and context of organizations. So given the amount of money that companies invest in developing their leaders, ensuring that that impact is maximized through focusing on learning transfer is critically important. So I'm pleased to share with you today CCL's model of learning transfer. So we very much believe learning is a process and not a program. So it really should start from the moment participants register until they're unconsciously and competently using their new learnings in their life. So CCL developed this 3x3x3 model of learning transfer that we're currently embedding into all of our designs to support transfer and application of learning back on the job to enhance impact and deliver results that matter. So we've identified 3 critical phases during a development experience that need specific focus. And we're utilizing 3 specific research-based strategies. There may be other strategies you're using today, but using a variety of strategies is important. And we believe that 3 groups hold key responsibilities for ensuring the learning is relevant and applied within the learner's organizational context. So by focusing on these 3 key aspects, phases, strategies, and responsibilities, learners will feel challenged and supported through a developmental experience. The 3 phases of the learning experience are prepare, engage, and apply, and CCL considers this our P-SCOOP model. So in the prepare phase, you're getting participants fully ready to engage in the development experience and maximize the value for them and the organization. For engage, you're ensuring the process is fully engaging and utilizes effective development and training strategies so the participants get the most out of the experience. And in the apply phase, you're aligning the application of learning to workplace realities and holding participants accountable for their development goals. So in the prepare phase, a key question to ask yourself is how might you help participants engage in the development process as soon as they register? In this phase, have participants meet with key stakeholders to identify opportunities. Also use this time to identify people at work who can provide insight, support, and feedback after the program. Identify workplace challenges they can focus their efforts on as a learning ground. Meeting with other program participants prior to the session is valuable, virtually or face-to-face. This helps them to start building relationships and connections right away so they can act as learning partners in the program. And completion of assessments and other pre-work that help people think through how to maximize their attendance. Some don'ts in this phase include don't leave participants in the dark about expectations, and don't leave them on their own to plan for the development. You want people to be self-directed in their development, but not on an island by themselves. In the engage phase, don't just teach. Ask yourself, how might you create opportunities for guided practice and skill development? So ensure the design has a good balance between content and hands-on activities and practice. The CCL's rule of thumb is to present content in 15-minute blocks with opportunities for engagement. This could be peer conversations, an experiential activity, an assessment, something of that nature for the rest of an hour. So during an hour, there might be 15 minutes of content, and the rest of the time is spent on engagement and activities. Make sure each day there is an opportunity to reflect on the workplace challenge each participant brings to the program, providing tools and techniques to help them connect the content of the day to their challenge. Ensure there is time in the program for peers to serve as a reality check regarding possible solutions and concerns participants have in implementing the solution they are developing. Make sure the participant group has had plenty of time to connect and bond during the program and is guided in how to effectively peer coach each other. Groups that have bonded are more likely to follow through on commitments to support each other after the program. Make sure each participant leaves the program with an action plan to address their challenge, clear expectations on how they will support each other, and an idea of what they will share when they get back to the workplace. This could be their goals, their assessment data, key learnings. Some don'ts in this phase include don't lecture participants the whole time, and don't divorce the content from the context. Make sure the examples and debriefs focus on the real world inside the organization. And certainly the most critical phase, apply. How might you create opportunities for the participants to use their new learnings at work and beyond? You can do this by ensuring accountability. So have participants share their development goals and action plans with relevant stakeholders, their manager, at-work learning partners and mentors, direct reports and peers as appropriate, and make sure they solicit advice and feedback. For more formal relationships, set up checkpoints to track progress. This could be with their manager, their mentor, and their learning partners. Provide a discussion guide to participants to use as they engage their key stakeholders that address next steps or follow-up opportunities. Have participants create a visual of their goals to share with others and as a personal reminder, as well as metrics to evaluate progress. Participants can post this visual at their workspace as a constant reminder of their personal development goals. Provide support to participants. Provide structure for any follow-on coaching conversations focused on application of learning to workplace challenges. Foster continued support of peers from the program. Make sure they are connecting with each other and provide webinars to provide support and encouragement. And be sure to celebrate. Provide opportunities for participants to share their progress with the rest of the organization. Provide a webinar for participants to share progress and celebrate the completion of this phase of their learning journey. So make sure HR or training and development tracks and highlights the participants' goals and progress. People are more likely to participate if they believe it matters to the organization and to their future career success. Using at least 3 strategies. So CCL is working to embed at least these 3 strategies into our work with clients: a key leadership challenge, in-class accountability partners, and at-work learning partners. There are certainly many other effective strategies to promote learning transfer, and many of you may be using some of these. So having leaders cascade what they've learned down to their teams, ongoing coaching and formal mentoring in the organization, integration of the development goals into the talent system for tracking or other online goal support, and certainly manager support and public recognition and rewarding of goal achievement. So in using a key leadership challenge as a learning transfer strategy, how might you get participants applying the content to a leadership challenge in prepare, engage, and apply phases? So our approach is to take these 3 strategies and look at how they apply in all of those phases. So why use a key leadership challenge in the first place? A key leadership challenge provides opportunities to practice new behaviors and learning in the real world, making the learning stick, as well as delivering measurable results that impact the bottom line. So what is a key leadership challenge? KLCs are existing projects that align with the organization's strategy and focus on results that matter for the individual and the business. This ensures the participant, the manager, and the organization all see this work as important and support it. So how does one leverage a key leadership challenge in an experience? So define the type of KLC you want the participant to work on. That could be personal, organizational, strategic, innovation, and provide clear selection criteria and some examples. At a minimum, provide a guide sheet to develop a KLC and guidance on having key stakeholder discussions before the program. Participants should generate a list of multiple challenges to explore before selecting one. And this process should include generating diverse perspectives on their challenge before coming to the program. They should be exploring with their manager and other key stakeholders the importance of the challenge and what success would look like. Have participants submit their KLC to the program faculty for review and feedback to ensure they are focused on the right type of challenge. This also helps the faculty include the actual participant examples in the program for greater engagement and impact. Integrate reflection on the KLC into the design of each day and ensure participants are able to provide peer consultation and feedback to each other. And participants should develop an actionable plan around their KLC and share this with others at work for feedback and support. Our second strategy is the use of in-class accountability partners. Accountability partners provide support as participants practice new behaviors, celebrating success and offering suggestions on how to improve when needed. Accountability partners become each other's sounding boards and dialogue partners. They are also each other's cheerleaders, encouraging participants to try new things and progress through the tough spots. Accountability partners work best when participants have the opportunity to get to know each other well, build trust, and are willing to be open and vulnerable with each other. So in implementing learning partners, think through how to select learning partners and have a backup plan if learning partners are lost during the learning journey. Encourage participants to build relationships right from the start, even before the program attendance if possible, through social media, webinar introductions, email groups, etc. During the program, provide plenty of time for learning partners to connect and work together. Groups that bond are more likely to follow through. Engage the learning partners in the coaching around the Key Leadership Challenge, how to apply learning, conversations with bosses. Provide clear expectations for the role of learning partners and how often they should meet post-program. Hold them accountable by asking them to report their progress to the larger group during a final webinar. Encourage the groups to create a structure for their meetings, such as getting it into their calendar before they leave the program. And check in with the learning groups by email or webinar to provide support and encouragement. And our third strategy is to develop at-work learning partners. So whether it's their boss, mentor, or someone else they trust, how might we foster meaningful development through all phases of the program? At-work learning partners facilitate the career advancement and personal growth of the participant. They are aware of the changes the participant wants to make, can observe their attempts, and can provide honest feedback. They offer a special kind of expertise on how to navigate the inner workings of the organization and can serve as a role model. At-work learning partners should have a good understanding of the organizational context, such as its strategy and culture, and often how to access information and resources critical for doing the job. They should be a part of the participants' developmental network, people they trust, who see them frequently, and who will give them honest feedback right away. To utilize at-work learning partners or mentors during the prepare phase, share criteria to help participants select their at-work partners, whether it's a boss, mentor, program alumni, or someone else. Create activities the participant and partner engage in prior to the program, such as a conversation regarding the key leadership challenge. Have participants start sharing goals immediately and set expectations that these goals and progress will be shared during the apply phase. Share role expectations with the at-work accountability partners. This could be as robust as formal training or as simple as a discussion outline, but help these partners understand how they will benefit as part of the process. Be sure to understand the support at-work partners need to take on this role. During a program, have a participant select a few items such as assessment data, goals, action plans, or team learning to share with their at-work partners and add this step to their action plans. And in the apply phase, make sure participants and at-work partners are connecting and have a plan for how often they will meet going forward. Provide a discussion guide for participants to use as they engage their at-work partner. So these are the three strategies CCL is currently embedding into our work with clients. There certainly, again, are many other strategies that we use with clients and that you may be using today. But after identifying and developing your learning transfer strategies, don't overlook the responsibilities of the three most relevant groups: the training provider, the participant, and certainly the organization. The provider should focus on learning, not just training. So what might the provider do to maximize the likelihood of transfer of learning? Certainly quality program design that links important content to the challenges and issues of the organization and participants, and use of effective facilitation strategies that foster growth and development. But make sure they're engaging all those involved in an integrated process. So facilitators, coaches, program support, the development of job aids, integration of online learning. And so the participant should certainly be active and not passive. They must own their learning and use it. So how might they demonstrate that? Create accountabilities pre- and post-program for the participants to demonstrate how they are owning their own development and demonstrating the application to the benefit of the organization. And as we all know, participants have to have a level of openness and willingness to change. And it's the work of the prepare phase to help them get to that point. And for the organization, paying the bill isn't enough. What might the organization do to ensure opportunities to apply learning? Participants may have the best of intentions of applying new learning and achieving their goals. What often stands in their way is the organizational context they return to after a developmental experience. Manager engagement is a key organizational responsibility, and there are four critical aspects to this: meeting with the participant prior to the program, visibly supporting attendance, meeting with the participant after the program, and most importantly, providing ongoing feedback and rewarding behavior change and goal progress. So what can HR and training and development departments do to create a positive developmental climate in the organization and to support the managers and at-work learning partners in their roles? So to review, make sure you are clear on the accountabilities and responsibility of the critical actors in a developmental process: the participant, the organization, and the training provider. Use a variety of strategies, ideally at least 3, to provide support before, during, and after a program, and embed these strategies and responsibilities in 3 key phases: preparing for the experience, engaging in the experience, and applying the learnings, the pea soup of learning transfer. So what questions, insights, or strategies do you have that you would like to share regarding supporting individuals undergoing a leadership development experience?
Yeah, so Emily, we have this question from one of our participants who's asking, most of the learning programs don't provide a way to measure the extent to which the learning was successfully applied at over a period of time. So this remains a challenge for the Learning and Development Department when presenting the benefits of the investment to management.
Yeah, so how might one evaluate learning transfer? So certainly, doing evaluation at the end of the program, what people call, level 1 or smiley sheet, does give you feedback on how well participants engaged in the process. But, that's not giving you evidence of transfer and impact. And so what CCL is doing, we now have a standard evaluation that we do 2 months post-program with all our participants that get an initial transfer of learning to the workplace. So we have a standardized set of questions that we're asking all participants. But quite often, companies need, more tailored evaluation. And so we'll look at a 3-month to 6-month period of time using a follow-up 360 that we have to measure behavior change from a multi-source perspective. So using multi-source surveys, whether, again, that's re-administering a 360, or we have at CCL, it's called reflection, so it's a retrospective then-now that gets at where were participants before they came to a program and where are they now, to get that measure of behavior change. So we'll often use surveys, we'll often do interviews and focus groups, but really being clear in the program on the type of impact you're looking to have, and then following up with participants, and ideally either their manager, peers, direct reports, to get multi-source feedback on the impact of what's happened.
Right. Thank you, Emily. That was very insightful. So another question that we have is, do you have any suggested model to address this particular issue?
To address which particular issue?
To this current issue that we're talking about, supporting individuals undergoing this leadership development.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question. So specific strategies. So we would, we use the Key Leadership Challenge, the at-work accountability partners, and in-class accountability partners to support that.
So he's basically asking that the challenge for Learning and Development Department when presenting the benefits of the investment to management.
What are strategies for demonstrating or making that argument to senior management? Certainly having strong evaluation data can do that for you. And also, being very clear in your needs assessment or discovery process, so really being able to validate kind of the gaps and needs and issues in the organization that such a program would address. So being clear on the front end in terms of how the learning will impact business results and business issues, so being able to tie that very clearly together, and then having that evaluation plan and evaluation data that help to support that actually happened as a part of the program.
Right. All right. So, Emily, we have another question. So they're asking, how long should a follow-up mechanism ideally be post the program?
Yeah, so post-program, when you go into the apply phase, we would certainly recommend at least, 3 months post-program. Ideally, if you could extend that to about 6 months. So again, you're building in consistent checkpoints between a manager and the participant, between the at-work accountability partner and the participant, and those in-class learning partners that they've developed. So the longer you can keep that formal process going where there are check-ins and support for each other, the greater you're going to see the transfer and application. But at least plan on 3 months post-program experience, and again, ideally up to 6 months.
Okay, all right. So I hope. So we have another question that says that how relevant is this model for small or medium enterprises where learning may not be very structured?
Yeah, so when you have smaller organizations and the learning isn't as structured, the issue is how do you then bring more structure, at least from an organizational perspective. So you often may not be able to do as much internal linkage as you would like between the participants, as they're in that prepare phase. But, setting the participant up for success. So really helping them to understand how they can structure their own learning experience, both before they come to the program and then afterwards. So you may need to focus more in that engage phase, so when they're actually in the program, and providing them the tools and supports that help them to apply the learning afterwards. But again, what we really see is when participants go back into an organization that doesn't have a supportive culture around what they're trying to achieve, you're not going to get the level of transfer that you're really looking for. So really see how to help the participants structure that when they go back into the workplace with their manager and with an at-work accountability partner.
Right. So another question that we have, Emily, is that there is too much pressure on the managers already. So how do we get managers involved as a at-work learning partner, especially when you have multiple participants from the same department or function attending a learning program? It does not look like an ideal situation.
And that is very true. We often hear that with organizations. The managers, are so busy. That's why actually using a key leadership challenge. So if the participant's development is directly tied to a key leadership challenge that is meaningful to both the participant and the manager, they're more likely to spend time on that. So as the participant is meeting with their manager on a regular basis around their work in general, integrating in this development on that key leadership challenge can be an ideal way to do that. So again, if both the manager and the participant see it as fully engaged in what's happening at work, it's more likely to happen. We've certainly had success in doing webinars with managers to really help them understand before participants go to a program and even afterwards the critically important role that they play. Because we see time and time again through our evaluation and research work that participants who have a more supportive boss achieve program outcomes to a greater extent. So the manager is really critical, and it is figuring out how to fully engage them in the process, given that they're so busy with their day-to-day work.
Absolutely. So with this question and answer session, we are going to wrap up today's masterclass. So once again, we thank today's masterclass partners: Center for Creative Leadership, Cornerstone On Demand, Northscape, Pearson Talent Lens, and Great Lakes Institute of Management. Finally, a special thanks to Emily Hoole, the speaker for this masterclass, for her time and invaluable information that she has shared with us today. And I would like to thank everybody in this masterclass audience for participating in today's presentation. We will come back to you with many more. That concludes today's masterclass. Thank you.